Hi, I'm Nicola Jean. Welcome to Bali Spirit Festival Conversations. Today, I'm super excited to have Chyna here with me. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, straight off stage with a gospel choir.
Yeah.
I was there in the audience. It was so uplifting.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, it took a lot for us to pull it off.
And there's a few of you.
Yeah. So you can only imagine tones and harmonies and all those things, but it was great. It was beautiful.
It really was. It really was. And as you know, a festival that has so many different musicians and sound healing journeys, and it was just such a beautifully pure sense of connection to the divine. Like that's when I was sitting there, you know, just like being in the melodies and the diversity of the sounds. It was super lovely, really feeling that whole space.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I think that was kind of what we were aiming for, was just like bringing the divine in the midst of all of it, especially with the theme of coming together, because, you know, knowing that we're all just connected to source, and then that just, you know, integrates all of us together in that way.
Yeah, beautiful. And like, you're from the US?
Yes.
Have you been singing since you were born?
I guess you could say that. My mom was, she, not necessarily a singer, but she loves to sing as well. Yeah. She says that when I was like 3 years old that I was singing Whitney Houston from my high chair.
Yeah, of course. We all love a bit of Whitney Houston.
And I've been in the gospel choir since I was a kid. So singing in the church, singing in choirs in schools, and just kind of, you know, from there trying to develop my own level of artistry and who I am as an artist, you know, especially coming from the church. Sometimes it's kind of like, where do you fit in kind of thing. But I've always loved soul and R&B and jazz. My great grandfather was a jazz musician. So music has definitely always been a part of my, I guess, lineage in some ways that you can say. And just always in the home, you can hear music. In the neighborhood, you hear music. Just anywhere we go, it's just like a coming together.
Yeah. And then too, the theme of the festival here is coming together this year. And I mean, whatever environment or whatever culture, whatever religion maybe, you know, whether it be spirituality or religion itself, but like coming together in a community, I'm sure in church, in gospel, in the choir, like this just, the sounds just reach into us and open us up.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm Australian, so, you know, it's a different experience, but like what we just experienced there was just so elevating. Yeah, it
definitely is. I think that all music, you know, it just is a way of like bringing people together, no matter the language or the culture or the religion. It's just, it speaks to you, you know, it speaks to your soul, and allows people to just really drop in and receive. And I think that that's the most beautiful thing about music, that it really just speaks to everyone.
Absolutely.
You know?
And it's universal. Like here at the festival, we just have people from all walks of life, from so many different continents. You know, it's such a beautiful melee of, you know, melting sharing. Absolutely. And there's not one thing that defines us. Right? So I know there was that experience, but you're also a sound healer. So, you know, that moves into like frequency and healing, and, you know, that's also very much a part of, you know, your life here in Bali, because now you live here in Bali, I understand.
Do, yes.
And so, share a little bit more about that type of work that you do.
So it's so interesting. I went to Amsterdam maybe 5 years ago, and that was the first time that I ever experienced sound healing. Oh, wow. I don't even think I never saw it. It wasn't in my community. It wasn't like a modality that was used. And we were walking down the street, we were going to a museum, and there was this man standing in the middle of the street, had this big Tibetan bowl. And like he had water in it, and just was kind of, I was just like almost like levitating, like gravitating towards it. I'm like, oh my God, what is that?
Like the Pied Piper in a different kind of context.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Just being drawn to it.
So I went over, and he just surrounded me with the frequency and the sounds, and I just like literally was just immersed, and kind of just felt like I was just kind of in like this, almost like a little bowl, like in the bowl, but not necessarily, but like in the bowl. And from there, I came back home, and I came across these women who were actually hosting sound healing and hike journeys. So I was like, oh my God, that's just ironic that I would now see that after never seeing it before. And so I went to one of those, and it was really like at the brink of COVID, and I got myself a bowl. When I was in the States, I was a therapist. And so I introduced that modality to my clients. So I was already doing yoga with them as well. But then I was like, sound healing was something beautiful to also implement. And then COVID happened, and I started doing sound healing online. So every morning I woke up and I offered sound healing to community. And I think the biggest thing for me was, just like I said, it just wasn't a modality that we saw. And I had been in mental health for 10 years. And so being a representation for me was a big thing of being able to bring these things in and integrate it, because it's just like, it's universal, as we say with music. So it's just like all of these things are at our disposal.
And at such an important time then, you know. I'm sure it was so well received.
So well received. I mean, so many women, and it just became, it took a life of its own, quite honestly. It really did. I was like, oh my God, am I doing this every day? No matter how I felt. And I think that was the beautiful thing about it, is because it really allowed so many people to be vulnerable and to receive. And it was so many conversations that we were having, because no one knew what was going on in the world. No, we had no clue. We didn't know when it was going to end. We didn't know what was going to be next. We were just trying to be there together. And trying to be there for each other in the best way that we could. And so there was so many, sorry, I forgot that this one, I was like, what's this on me? So many other sisters that I have in my community that also have other offerings, and we all just came together. And so from there, I just started doing offerings in the community. I lived in Washington, D.C. at the time. So we started going to like the Malcolm X Park, and they had like African drum dancing, and I would bring my sound bowls, and I would offer sound and just different community events. And we were at the moment just integrating mental health and holistic modalities. And that's what we were doing. So I came to Bali for a yoga teacher training, as we all do. And it was only supposed to be a month that I was supposed to be here.
And Mama Bali was like, I'm going to keep you here a bit longer.
2 years. And so I've been grateful to be able to meet so many wonderful people who have connected me to Yoga Barn, so that I can offer my offerings here. So I have my Sonic Sanctuary is what I call it. And I created a space of being able to drop in and to unravel and to be able to receive. Because a lot of times we aren't able to receive, like even the most simplest things, like giving a compliment and receiving a compliment from someone else. Somebody compliments me, I'm like, oh, thanks. You're so beautiful, you know? And so being able to receive those frequencies and to be in a space where you can simply just relax and rest. You know, I think those are some of the important things, especially when we're in like this culture of like, I have to do so many things at one time, busy, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, indeed. And as a therapist, even on my own journey, like this journey back to self, and I know this is like something that is important to you, you know, in finding my own way home. And then even when I have people on the table, this recognition of we can want to receive, we can even want love, and we can be intending to bring these things in. But in actual fact, can we? Yeah, can we? And can we do that graciously? I had a mantra of mine. I said a few mantras every year with some intention, and I came to recognize that I'm in service. So I'm like, yes, I want to help people. But actually, my sister pointed out to me that when she would compliment me, she'd say, you know, can you just graciously receive that? Absolutely. Can you graciously receive it? And that was when my awareness was like, wow, yeah, okay, I need to be able to do that. And then these opportunities to lie on a yoga mat, being a sound healing, even just being in the receivership there, like taking that moment. And even there's all this activity and dancing, but how can I drop in, and how can I be spacious, and how can I graciously receive that to nourish me and have that frequency? And, you know, it doesn't come as easily as we think. So my mantra was receive, 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 receive. So if it was a compliment, oh, I love your dress.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love this dress too. Thank you very much. Even receiving a smile from someone on the street, you know, just smiling back, you know, or someone offering to make a cup of tea instead of saying, oh, it's okay. I don't want to impose upon you. I can do it. Again, just pausing and being like, I can receive.
It's like allowing yourself to know that, because I always refer to us as like gardens, right? Like we nourish our garden, like I water you, you water me. And sometimes we have to tend to our garden and allow someone to tend to you, you know, because especially as people who are of service, you know, it's just like they're constantly like give. And I'm just like, you know, being a woman, you know, like, we watch our mothers who give and take care of and all those different things. So our love language in return, we're just like, oh, that's how we pour out to others, and I'll be fine, you know. And it's just like, I can't give to you if I don't have, you know, and being able to say that too. And it's just like, I give from my overflow, and then I allow people to also tend to my garden, because I can't blossom and I can't bloom in that way if I don't. You know.
And I think generationally, I mean, you know, my mother was probably not dissimilar to yours, but it was just giving, but there was never any self-priority, you know? And so having that example was something that, again, I had to recognize. It was like, oh, again, in that receivership. And
I can, and I deserve it. You know, I say it
the
all the time.
self-worth element of it.
I'm like, it's your birthright to do so, you know, like to give to yourself, to allow yourself to be given to. And same, like, I'm the oldest, I have an older sister. So like almost like a little mama myself.
Taking care,
you know?
You have to take care of everybody else.
Almost like a little mama myself. And my mom, she had me at 14. So, you know, she's 40 some, I ain't gonna tell my mother's age. She's a grown woman. And she's grown, but she's finally in a space of like, you know, how can I show up for myself and getting back to herself. So I loved what you said earlier. Something that I came to when I came to Bali was like, I said to myself a few times, and my mantra was, welcome home, little Black girl. Welcome home, because I lived all over the world, you know, so like you think about like that home that you get to come back to, like my room and my friends and all those different things. And although there was a house, it was not necessarily a home.
That's right.
So, you know, I felt like I was looking for it in people and places. And like, if I just go here, my life will be so much better. And I was just like, well, if you get there, you'll be right there with you. And the same things that you experienced before will happen. And so I realized that I had to return here. I had to find solace in my heart. I had to find peace within my own body. I had to create serenity in my own inner world to be able to have a home. Wherever I go, I'm home. So that's been like a really big thing for me.
Yeah, it's a beautiful concept, isn't it? To just coming home and just being able to land and feel safe.
Absolutely.
Because then it doesn't matter where you are. In an airport, in a different country, even at a festival. You know,
even hundreds of people.
Hundreds of people, you know, like all of it. You know, that element of safety. Because I know you're really passionate about, you know, healing, and you're part of a peaceful organization.
Oh, so it's it is peaceful. Preserving peace. Preserving peace. So that's my business. And one of the things I love about that is that the premises of it is really for women. I like to believe that sisterhood is the medicine. You know, there's so many things that we experience as women in the world. And a lot of times we feel alone, we feel isolated. But the moment that we really come into a room and we drop in and allow ourselves to be vulnerable and open up, and you hear another woman next to you share her story, you're like, oh my God.
It's so universal. These universal themes.
These universal things that we all go through, no matter where you are in the world. I have women in my groups who are from London and Australia and Africa and so many different places of the world. Common theme. And some of it is self-sabotage, some of it is blocked throat chakras, some of it is, you know, not knowing how to stand in our purpose and not knowing how to take our stance in the world. All these different things that we don't say out loud until we get into a room where it's inviting and welcoming for us to do so. I always say that my spaces are not necessarily safe, and I don't say that in a way where there's harm, but I say that they're brave spaces because they invite you to create the safety within yourself. So that in return, you can create the safety for the sisters that are next to you. So yes, my business, Preserving Peace, is about sisterhood being the medicine. It is about creating spaces where we can unravel and where we can open up and where we can truly be our authentic selves. Because there's no thing about finding who you are. You already are. You already are. It's just remembering that you are.
Absolutely.
You know, remembering and getting back to the essence of who you are and having fun, because healing can be stressful.
I know, exactly. I spoke with one of the neurologists, sound healer, yesterday, and, you know, she just talks about all this extrasensory playfulness and, you know, this is you know, nurturing that inner child, and you know, it can be light. We want you know, life to feel light and expansive. It doesn't need to be you know, intense. You know, healing can be super fun, and I really love the power it it always blows me away, whether it be a women's circle, whether it be like just the gathering of friends. And here in Bali, it's very natural for us to create ritual and ceremony. It doesn't need to be a big exclusive gathering. You know, it's just something because of the Hindu culture here that, and within the wellness community, that having this ritual of just gathering is just something that happens. And with women that come into circle and just allow that vulnerability to be authentic. And it is incredible. Every single person that speaks or opens up is, you know, there's this resonance. There is this, I hear you, sister. And Nadine McNeil is a sister. She's Jamaican, and she used to do women's circle here. And she always used to say, you know, as one of us heals, we all heal together. And and that uplift, and knowing that as we do the inner work, you know, as we come back to self, and as we can ground, and as we can nourish that garden, you know, water the plants and allow everything to blossom, and that self-esteem and our self-confidence to grow, you know, that as we do that work, it ripples out and it touches the lives of so many people. So I'm like, it's super nice to meet you. And like, you know, I really like to celebrate and, you know, acknowledge, you know, women who are doing this work, because it really is, you know, changing the world, and this is what we need. You know?
It really is. It really, really, really is. And as I said, it just gives us permission to show up. And I say all the time, like, take up as much space as you need. Take up as much space as you need. Take up spaces, just take it up, you know? Allow yourself, you know? And I'm like, and there's so many times where like so much is bottled up on the inside that we don't know how, and we just get really, really small. And like, just, you know, when I stretch, I'm like, sorry, you know? I needed that. I'm going to take up as much space as I need. Space, you know, to move, you know? And it's just, you said, it's just powerful. It really, really, really is. And sometimes it's not even intentional. Just when women are in the room, and just like, I feel like, you know, I'm just like that glance that we get when we see each other, and we love each other's outfit. It's like, oh my God, girl, I love your outfit, you know, like that praise, you know, just to feel that from another woman. Because like a lot of times they say, typically we're dressing up for other women. We're not really dressing up for men. It's for other women. You know, and I love it. It's a playground. And I say, one of my partners, she said, we are our 7-year-old selves, we're our 13-year-old selves, we're our 21-year-old selves. All of those things exist at once. So I could be so playful that my 7-year-old self is showing up in the moment, and I'm allowing her to have fun and take up space and do whatever it is that she needs to do, you know. That inner child is like really, really, really essential, that we don't get to this point where we're just like, I'm an adult and that's it. Because it's just like, no, that's not it. There's so many different parts of ourselves that we're always going to be nurturing and taking care of. And it's just like, allow all of them to exist. And I think, you know, it's just, our parents didn't have all the language for all the things that we have today, you know, to be able to be the representation and to be able to see those things. So I think this is also a beautiful thing for us to be able to have in our hands and be able to do for ourselves, to then be able to let our parents see the example of what it is if they choose. My mother was able to see me heal, and I went through Sacred Woman, and I'm just coming into myself, and she says to me all the time, she's like, I'm so proud of you, little girl. I'm so proud to see you heal. My mother's in therapy, like all these different things. And it wasn't because I was shaking her and trying to get her to do a thing, but because she saw her child. She saw the light switch on. And that's what they say. I have a 9-year-old son, and they become our teachers. And that is so true. You know, and I know, and I mean, my hope for him is that, he surpasses me in terms of being able to expand and to be authentic and, you know, and ideally as well, have the feminine balanced within his masculine. You know, really fortunate as a mother to be able to offer him, you know, a festival experience and to see adults who are like dancing with poise and playing with, you know, fire in performance, or like lying in stillness with beautiful sound bowls, you know, so he can understand that there is this like, you know, vital energy, and he gets to just be an expression of that. And knowing that there's no one way to be. I say to him, you know, I don't want you to be like anyone else. I just want you to be authentically you. And how incredibly awesome is it that he has you as a mother to teach him those things. Yeah.
And Bali. And living in Mama Bali, you know.
She'll cultivate the atmosphere.
Yeah, and here we are at Bali Spirit Festival, and it takes a community, you know, and we're so blessed, aren't we, to be a part of this community. So, oh, such a delight.
Thank you.
To meet you.
Yeah, you as well.
Yeah, I feel like we could just talk for hours.
I know. We don't have much time.
So I'm definitely going to keep a little lookout and maybe take up a little mat space today and enjoy your sound journey. Yeah. So keep doing what you're doing and changing people's lives, and being the example that, you know, and living the life that you want, you know, to see in the world, you know, by being that. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I needed this. It's super grounding after performing.
Great. And then I can see you on the dance floor later.
Yes, I'll be there.
Thank you.